Okay, awesome. Then that's fine. So I think the next few, 30 minutes that we'll be devoting to understanding the dynamics and concept of Tell Me About Yourself is very critical and very important for all of you to, understand and participate in, and therefore ask as many questions as possible for this particular session, because this is going to really clarify a lot of your doubts. So, anything you have, anything you want to ask, and please remember, no question is silly or stupid. Every
Hello.
question is important. Okay. So we'll just wait till 1:55 and then we'll start, as Anshul has suggested.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that is it okay if we take up an unconventional way of introducing ourselves, like a somewhat informal one? Is it all right?
Yeah. We'll be covering that in the next half an hour of our session. This is exactly what I'll be covering. So we'll go through that.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
So, Anchal, one small input. So, the
Yeah,
next thing that I'm going to be doing is that I would like them to share their input one by one for the questions that I will pose in front of them. So, would you advise if they can one by one share their responses on the chat box?
yes, of course. They are allowed to put their responses or reflections in the chat box. It would be
Yeah,
highly appreciable if they will write it down.
yeah, fine. So, we'll do that. We'll just start in a minute.
I think more students they are joining us. I can see in the participants list, the students they have started increasing. So
Okay, we can start now. So the ones who join later can join us at that point of time and they can continue and we can start. Neha, are you there?
Yeah, good afternoon, Metlaji. You can start now. It's already 1:56. Okay.
Yeah,
Students will join later. No issues.
yeah, no problem, no problem. So we'll start off the session now. So welcome back, everyone, back from your short lunch break. I hope you had enough to keep yourself full till the time we continue with our session. You can, I'm going to try my level best that you will not need a cup of tea and coffee to keep yourself awake because of all the activities that you need to study with. So, yeah, welcome back, all of you. So, starting with the same session that we started off earlier before lunch. It's a very, very important session. In fact, I would go on to say this is perhaps the most important session of the entire training program, one of the most important. And we feel that if you can understand this concept deeply, you will be able to really, pull yourself out of various situations and circumstances which you'll be facing in the coming months. You see, what will happen now is that you will be facing entrepreneurs, guest speakers, corporate guests, placement agents, agents. You will be meeting and interacting and networking with a whole lot of people right now in the next coming 2 years, including your summer internship. Now, one of the ways to really make a mark in each of these interactions is this very important, art. I call it the art because it is really an art. It is not just simply speaking a set of words and telling about yourself, but it is really an art. So I will all of you today as to how you can really master this art in the next couple of months before your summer internship and really get into the thick and thin of it. But before that, I have a question in front of you guys, and I would like you to give me your answers one by one in the chat box by typing it out. I do not want you to speak it out. If we would have been in a one-to-one session, I would have requested you to tell me your answers verbally. But since this is a virtual platform, we would request if you could tell us your answers in the chat box. So my question is that there are various elements, right? There are various elements to an introduction. There are various parts to an introduction. Can you tell me one by one, without any repetition happening, what are the various elements? I will just give you an example to start you with. The first is your name. The second is your educational background, and so on and so forth. If you could just tell me what are the other elements of an introduction in the chat box below. Name, place where you live, excellent. Hobbies, strength, goal, achievements, educational details, skills, experiences, past experience, very good. Target and goal is the same thing. Your failures, your dream, okay. Awards, growth. What else? What you expect from the company, all right. Ethical values, excellent suggestion, very good. The person whom you admire, very, very good response. Inspiration. What skills do you have to offer? Excellent. What are your future plans? The person you look up to, the kind of person you want to become or you are, okay. What else? Very wonderful inputs coming in from all the students, and good to know that you guys are now thinking out of the box and really putting yourself out of your comfort zone. What else can be part of introductions? Let me tell you, there are at least 20 to 25 more points. So keep guessing. So what do you want to achieve in your life is the same as goals, is the same as targets. So that's a repetition. Okay, what kind of salary do you want? Excellent, Mansi. Your turning point in your life. Very good. Participation in various fields, Himanshi has said, that is extracurricular activities that you have been participating in. What else can be a part of your introduction? What has been your biggest learning? Siddharth is very right. Why should a company hire you? Excellent, Ronak. That's a very important point that you have mentioned today. Yeah. What else? Brief journey of your failure, success, life's experiences. Yes, you can do that. Keep thinking. There are many more. There is a lot of repetition happening. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Good. Good, Shabas. Very crucial question that we will discuss today. Yeah, so we're not going to touch upon eye contact and body language. We'll talk about the elements of an introduction. We are breaking the introduction down into various smaller elements. What values will you as a person bring in to the organization? Very good, Siddhant. Yes. Ayush has written comparison with others. That's a debatable point. We will discuss about it. Ishika has written your USP. That's a very good point. What else? How would you differ yourself from others? Your perspective towards your life and work. Describing yourself in 3 adjectives. Very good idea. Something that you could take back from this exercise today that we did with you. Okay, so let me give you a few clues now. Why did you do MBA? Why did you choose to decide to do an MBA? That could be one question and part of your answer, right? And why you chose a particular specialization? What led you to choose that particular specialization and pursue it after MBA and while MBA you were doing? So those are the other 2 points that I wanted to introduce. And I think one very important part that all of you are missing right now, because you haven't gotten exposed to that part, which will become a part of your introduction. Can anyone guess what that would be? Summer internship, right? So we'll talk about summer internship also. Okay, all right. So I think that's it for now. We will now go back to sharing and discussing with all of you. So as you could see today, when I asked you this question, you guys gave me so many more inputs, right? I mean, at least 50, 60 inputs came in right now, and we could understand that there is so much more to just the simple introduction that we normally give to people. And what do we normally give to people? We tell them our name, we tell them our educational background, what is our hobby, and what is our strength and weakness, where do we belong, which city, what is our family background. Normally we limit ourselves to just this much. But today I'm going to give you a very challenging concept to understand. And that concept is that your introduction can be way beyond these parameters now. Okay? It need not be limited to only your name, educational background, your strength, weakness, hobbies, and your family background and city. It can actually extend to many, many, many other aspects of your personality and your life, right? So if you start assimilating these points that we just shared on the chat box, you will be able to collate 20 to 25 points, which will be unique points, not repetitive points. Okay. So can someone just summarize those points for us? Any one of you can speak up looking at the chat box and just summarize 20 points. I will help you also. Any one of you can unmute and start sharing.
Can I?
Yes, go
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am. Those are okay.
Go ahead. Was that Pankaj who was sharing or Ronak?
Gaurav, you are sharing or me?
Go ahead. You told first. It's okay.
Okay. The 20 points which are experience, turning points in your life, your SWOT analysis, your work ethics.
Yeah, I would, Pankaj, sorry to interrupt you. One of the
Yeah.
students, I would request you to start numbering these points. Okay. So as Pankaj keeps talking and taking the names of the points, please keep numbering them. One of you can take the responsibility.
Yes, I'll do that, ma'am. I'll do that.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Pankaj. So Pankaj said,
Ma'am, education, your qualification,
educational background, Rhea.
experience,
Your experience, if you have any past experience.
Yes, ma'am. Your work ethics.
Your work ethics.
What the value you add on in the organization.
Value systems that you possess as an individual and that you can contribute to the organization. I hope someone is keeping a tab.
Achievements.
Ma'am, I am.
Achievements.
Yes,
achievements, your failures, your learnings from the life,
Success and failures, your biggest learnings.
your SWOT analysis towards of the organization which you are you want to get in.
No, we will not do a SWOT analysis of the organization, but we'll talk about our own strengths and weaknesses
Okay.
to the person. So strength and weaknesses can be one point. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Pankaj. I think Pankuri has written a very good point, which is awards. Any kind of awards or any kind of accolade that you have earned during your school life or college life, or as part of debates, competitions, sports events, anything and everything you can include here. Go ahead, Pankaj.
Ma'am, experiences, your goals and objectives,
Goals and objectives. Very good.
where you are seeing you in next 5 years.
Where do you see yourself 5 years or 2 years or 1 year from now?
Yes.
Yeah. And there's another
What are
very
you expect? What are you expect from the organization?
Yeah, what are your expectations from the organization will not be part of the introduction, right? So we are talking about introduction. We are not talking about how will you introduce yourself for a placement interview. We are talking about an introduction which is general and slightly more mass scale in nature. Okay. And one
Your
very
hobbies?
important point that Diksha and Satyam have mentioned here is the person whom you admire the most, or someone who's your ideal or inspiration in life. So that will be another point. Keep going, Pankaj.
Uh, your hobbies,
Your hobbies, yes.
the things which motivates you the most.
Yeah. And Siddharth has mentioned a very nice point, which is what is your unique quality or your USP as a person, right? Yeah. What else?
Ma'am, I think
We've covered all.
No, 14 yet.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And
SIP.
I also
Commendation
one more
program.
point, which was why did you choose MBA and why did you choose a particular specialization? So that makes it 16.
Why we should hire you, ma'am?
Ma'am, your work in
Why
your
should a
specialization.
company hire you? 17. Yes.
Ma'am, your work in your specialization. What you have done in your specialization?
Yeah. So here, the right word will be life projects. What has been your experiences that you can share with respect to life projects? Apart from summer internship program, interns or MBA graduates are also expected to work on life projects, and this is throughout their MBA courses going on. So you can definitely talk about your life projects. So how many points have we covered now?
18, ma'am. I think
18. Excellent. What else?
Strength and weakness.
Already covered.
already
done.
covered.
What differs you from others?
That is USP, unique quality. The same point, it's a repetition.
Ma'am, how our belief can help us to motivate us or to achieve our goal? It can be spiritually or culturally.
So you're describing about yourself as a person. So again, that is your own unique quality, your own USP. So it's the same point. I will give you one more point.
Ma'am,
What has been
perspective?
the selling point in your life? Right?
Ma'am, perspective towards your life and work.
Your perspective towards life and work. Okay. How many points now?
Deal with society.
How many points now?
19.
19.
19.
And
And let's
your social responsibility towards how you discharge your responsibility towards the society.
Okay, so those will all come under your own characteristics, thought process, value system. So it is all repetitive. We've already included those points in the points that we've talked about.
Will I be comfortable to relocate in different geographical areas?
I would say that that is something you could use as part of your introduction, but again, that is very placement specific answer. So here we are not just talking about placement specific answers. We are talking about introductions in general that you have to first understand the concept. Okay. So
Ma'am,
Nancy was trying to say a point.
I would like to add on something. About hello,
Go ahead, Nancy.
ma'am. What about how we overcome or control our weaknesses and fears?
Yeah, so that is someone's strength and weakness only.
Ma'am, I would like to add on something if you allow me.
ma'am, can I speak?
Yes,
But
go
your
ahead.
voice is not audible. Voice is not audible.
Ma'am, this is Devanjali.
Devanjali, your voice is also not audible, both of yours.
Mansi, I think your mic
Ma'am,
is.
am I audible now?
Yes, now you're
Ma'am,
better.
am I audible?
Yes,
I
now
would
you're
like to contribute a point to the list. Hello.
Yes, Devanjali, you are audible.
Ma'am, this is Aparna speaking.
Okay. It is showing a different box. Neha, it's a humble request. Are you using or sharing some PPT here? Because it is showing us viewing Neha Kapoor's presentation. So are you
Yes,
showing some
I
pictures?
just
It is nothing is visible on the screen from the PPT or presentation point of view. So
I share it.
if you're using it's perfectly fine. Else, yes, we can have the screen. Thank you, Neha.
I think Aparna was trying to make a point. Aparna, can you?
Yes, ma'am. What I was trying to say was we are often asked in an interview, how are we going to contribute as a team member or as a leader in the organization? So that could form a part of our introduction.
Yes, very much. So now how many points have we completed now?
Ma'am, I wish to add something.
Yes, we've completed 20 points. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Dipanjan, go ahead.
I wanted to say that could we also add that how we wish to achieve our goals in our lives and what we have done so far in order to achieve them.
Yes, you could mention that, but that point has already been covered in the previous points that we have listed, where we have talked about goals, where we have talked about targets. So that is anyways going to get covered.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So in total, so by the way, this list can keep going on, right? I mean, we have only been able to collate how many points today? 20. Is that
20,
right?
ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yeah. So imagine, this is just 20 points that we have been able to collate from this small 5-minute discussion we just had by pushing ourselves to mentally start thinking, okay, what else can be a part of our introduction? If you sit on this question for another 10-15 minutes, another 10 points, you'll be able to discover about what can be part of your introduction. So, like I said, introduction can be something which is totally fluid, flexible, creative, and there is no set format for an introduction, right? There are some rules and don'ts to follow, but there is no format as such. The more creative, more interesting, and more engaging that you make your introduction, the better it is for you. For example, like we kept asking you guys to say during your introduction when you were, doing in the previous session that, try and break the monotony, do it a little differently, come up with something different. So those were the kind of things that we were trying to tell you that there is absolutely no set format to this. This can be changed any which way you like. There are companies who assess students based on how they introduce themselves in terms of format. So, there are companies who start off with the question, okay, tell me about your extracurricular activities. I think we missed out on this point in our 20-point list. This is a very, very important point. What were your extracurricular activities during school, college, MBA life? And when I say extracurricular activities, this would include all your activities as a student, which you have been part of as participation in student clubs and student activities in your MBA college also. So now that you've started your batch in IMS, you will be part of various clubs, you will be part of various student initiatives, and you will get plenty of opportunities to work in various areas, be it editorials, be it some kind of activity, be it academic projects, be it non-academic things, be it an event that will happen. So these will become part of your extracurricular activities. And this is something that people really look forward to listen to, because it gives them a great amount of idea of what kind of person you are. Okay. So now I will move on to some of the thumb rules that all of you need to remember and understand before reframing introduction for next time onwards. So the first rule is prepare, prepare, prepare. Now, if you want to master your introductions, the first step of preparation will involve a very simple activity that I will ask all of you to now do from this day onwards. After the session is over, you will sit down and start to write down your introduction on a piece of paper. You could type it down on your laptop or you could write it on your notepad. It doesn't matter. But the idea is you have to first assimilate your points about your introduction in your mind and put it down on a piece of paper or on the laptop, whichever mode you feel comfortable with. And after you have written down a written script of your introduction, you will work on editing and re-editing it based on whatever inputs you want to change, you want to add, you want to delete, because introduction is never set. It will keep changing, right? It will be dynamic. It will be something which will have some value add inputs each time you will introduce yourself. Let's say you introduce yourself with me to me today, but 6 months down the line, you will end up doing a great life project. So in the next 6 months, when you will reintroduce yourself to me, the content will completely change, so that editing and re-editing of your introduction will keep happening all the time. So the first activity that I will give you guys today after the session is over is to write down your written introduction. Remember, writing it down. And why writing it down? Because whatever you write down, you never forget. See, what happens to most of us when we are introducing ourselves? We fumble or we make a lot of mistakes. We lose our confidence while we are speaking. We are not able to maintain eye contact. We are not able to maintain a healthy body language. Why do those things happen? Those things happen because we haven't done enough preparation. And there is no limit to the preparation and practice as far as introduction and communication skills and public speaking is concerned. All of these skills and all of these things that we are teaching you today require you to come out of your comfort zone and practice as much as possible. Nobody can push you out of it. It's only you who can, do this to your own self. So coming back to the preparation point, your first step to preparation today will be to write down a written script of your introduction, and thereafter you will practice a very simple and a very powerful exercise called the mirror speaking technique. Okay, now this is a very simple activity which sounds even silly to a lot of students, but it is one of the most profound and powerful tools that is used by speakers, by communicators, by orators all over the world, wherein once they have written down what they want to speak, they look into the mirror and then they speak this out. Okay, now what is the advantage of looking into the mirror vis-a-vis just talking like that? First of all, there's no one to judge you, so you'll be most comfortable because you are with your own self. Secondly, the mirror is the most honest feedback mode for you, because you will get to know your own eye contact, you will get to know your own body language, you will get to know your own style of speaking while you're looking into the mirror, and you'll be able to instantly make changes to the way you're introducing yourself using hand movement, eye contact, posture, body language, confidence level, pitch and tone of voice, all of these components will be very clearly visible to you when you start talking in front of the mirror. So these are the two tools that I want you to start practicing from today onwards. One is writing down your introduction, editing and re-editing it based on whatever inputs you feel like adding. And second, you will practice speaking in front of the mirror once your written script is ready. Now, as far as the written script is concerned, these 20 points that we have written down today, you will mix and match whatever is relevant for you. You will jumble it up, you will make it unique, you will make your own story, because you are not just defined to who you are in terms of education and your work. You are far beyond this as a person. Today, when I introduced myself to you, I did not just talk about my career accomplishments, but I also spoke to you about my family. I also spoke to you about being a mother. I also spoke to you about how I'm passionate about various things in life and what really challenges me and interests me. And in that process, I also told you a lot of other things about myself, which you wouldn't have known otherwise. So try and now take whatever point is relevant to you from these 20 points and create a script, a written script of your introduction. So that's my first point, which is prepare, prepare, prepare. The second thumb rule I would like you to focus on is a crisp and concise introduction, right? Now, there are introductions where people kind of go on and on and on, and it becomes very boring for the other person to hear you all the time, right? And you can see it on their face. They are bored. They're, fibbling around. And I'm talking about both personalized interpersonal introductions or virtual introductions. In either case, you have to maintain the engagement of the other person with you. If that person has been able to engage with you, if that person has been able to maintain the eye contact with you, that is an indicator that your introduction is going on the right track and it's not too long. And the opposite of it is also true. If it is too short, then it loses its complete importance. There is no substance, there is no meatiness in the introduction. So you've got to add good amount of inputs about yourself and about your life, but at the same time not make it too long. So how will you assess that this is the right length of an introduction? So typically, your introduction should not exceed 3 minutes. Is that clear to everyone? 3 minutes. So you may say, oh, 3 minutes is actually nothing. It's actually a very short period of time to talk. But we'll make you do an exercise today where you will understand how difficult it is to talk for even 1 minute. So the introduction should not exceed 3 minutes. So when you will do the mirror, looking practice technique, you can also time yourself and see for how long you're introducing yourself. And that will give you an idea whether it is too short or too long or just right. Now, the next point is subdivisions of introduction, which we have already done right now. We started off these subdivisions, which we did right now as an exercise, which was 20 points. You can go on and keep adding. The fourth is relevance of content spoken is very essential. You may talk, you may be talking to an entrepreneur or some kind of an industry expert who is representing financial services or banking sector, and you are talking about your own experience which has nothing to do with the area that they want to know something from you. So you have to be very sure about the relevance of the content that you're speaking. Okay, like I see a lot of times students make this huge of talking in too many details. Stick to the point, stick to the agenda of the meeting, and say those points which are very relevant to you. Now, interruptions during interview or any kind of interaction ideally should not happen. But if they're happening, it should only be with some kind of logic. For example, if we are talking right now and if you're not able to hear me, you can absolutely interrupt right now because I'm not audible or I'm not visible, or there is some technical glitch because of which you're not able to view. So those things are fine, but never interrupt when somebody is asking you a question or when you are also speaking and somebody says something. So that kind of interruption should not happen. And remember one thing, the direction of any interaction, including an interview, can be in your favor. Why? Because the steering wheel is in your hands while you're introducing yourself, right? You can turn it in the direction you want. You can take it where you want. If you want the person to ask you more questions in a specific area, you can talk about that area more, and that will ensure that you are able to confidently answer in those areas. So these are some very basic thumb rules that I wanted to share with all of you today. And you have to now understand that the key to making a very, very beautiful introduction is, first, number one, a written introduction. Number two, a huge amount of practice. I don't know if you guys knew, but can you even estimate how much time Steve Jobs, as an entrepreneur, took for practicing and preparing before every, presentation? Just take a wild guess and put it in the chat box. How much time on an average did Steve Jobs take to prepare for a presentation or for any kind of interaction? Give me your answers randomly in the chat box. 30 minutes. Someone said 6 hours. Someone said 3 hours. 10 times. 1 day. We haven't still got the answer correct, so keep guessing. 2 hours. On the spot, okay. 15, 20 times. 2 days, 3 days, 20 minutes. We still haven't got the answer. I'll take 1 or 2 more answers and then I'll reveal. 12 to 14 hours, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 8 minutes. Well, you're in for a shock. Average, Steve Jobs, someone we really look up to as an orator, as a communicator, as a presenter, took 2 weeks time to prepare before every presentation. And imagine someone like him who has already mastered the art of introducing, someone who has already mastered the art of communicating. But he alone took 2 weeks, 15 days time to prepare for every presentation, for every interaction, for every communication. Imagine if he had to put in that kind of time and effort and investment, how much time will we need to take, right? So this concept of preparation is something that I cannot emphasize enough about. The more you will practice, the more you will be able to polish yourself, and the more you will gain your confidence and come out of your comfort zone. So please write down your introductions today. Start the mirror talking technique. Look at yourself into the mirror and do this one practice every single day till your summer internships, and you will see the kind of transformation each one of you will go through as far as communication is concerned. Okay. And like I said, make your introductions as unique, as creative as possible. Break the format, break the monotony, make it like a story, make it like an engaging content that you are now going to talk about to someone else. And never ever think when you're talking to somebody else that he's trying to assess me or he's trying to judge me, because that is what breaks down our confidence and makes us feel a little, nervous. Always think that I'm just an individual who's sharing about myself with the other person, and that's it. And you will do it to the best of your ability. That's all I want you to focus on, at least for now, because this is one thing. If you can master, you will be able to really master many other things, in your interaction with others. So this is all that I wanted to share as far as introductions are concerned. And Neha, I would like you to just stop the presentation and we can take some questions for introductions right now. And if anybody has questions, they can either unmute themselves and ask, or they can write in the chat box. Either is fine.
Ma'am, could I ask?
Yeah, Neha, can you stop the presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah, now we can ask. Yeah, please go ahead.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that, like, how should we frame it so that it doesn't start sounding very informal?
So the 20 points that I have given you are not informal points at all. They are a mix of your professional accomplishments, your educational background, as well as your personal life and personality, and what kind of ethics, values you have. So if you stick to these points, it will be just fine. And try and mix it up and choose the ones that are relevant to you as a person. You don't have to pick up all. You can just pick and choose what applies to you and create a nice dialogue and story around it and make it a part of your introduction.
Ma'am?
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am, I have a question.
I have a question here, Ronak here.
Yeah.
Ma'am, many of times I've heard that we should not say our weaknesses in my first go, in the first introduction. Like it creates a bad impact to the other person. So while jotting down the strengths and weaknesses in the CV, so is it always mandatory to write the weaknesses also? Because a first impression is the last impression. While we interact, the weakness, if I say, won't it impact the other person?
Right. So there are various formats of a resume which is relevant today in today's time. So a lot of formats do not have strengths and weaknesses as their content anymore in times today. And a lot of formats, it is still a part of the resume format. So it depends which format you're following. Nothing wrong with following the older format. Nothing wrong with following the more latest format. It's up to you what you choose, but more importantly, how you respond to the answers of strength and weakness in your interaction, that is more relevant, right? And one of the things I always tell is 2 points. One, be honest and transparent. Never ever hide any information from the other person, because it is so easy for the other person to make out. They are trained to
Yes.
catch these points. So always be transparent, always be honest. And the second point is, you can be very clever in your and very smart in your answers while you're talking about your weaknesses, and you can use your weaknesses to act as strength for you. I'm not going to give you examples here because that will be like spoon feeding. I would like you to think yourself, what kind of strength can and weaknesses can you talk about, and specifically weaknesses which can then act as strength for you. So if you have some ideas, you can ask me later.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am, I have a question.
go ahead, Pankaj.
Ma'am, sometimes we started some things, but we left in between, or uh, we left incomplete it. So can we introduce? Can we inculcate these things in our introduction? Because these things also consist some experience as well.
Yeah, I'm not very clear with your question. Can you reframe it again and tell me what exactly are you wanting to ask?
Yes, ma'am. Some of the things which we are starting, but not completed, or we left in between. So these things also consist some experiences or some learnings. So these things can be included in our introduction or not.
Only if it is relevant. Remember the slide? I said, please use content in your introduction which is relevant to the conversation. Suppose you started a project in sales. I'm just giving you an example. Okay, you started a project in sales, but the interaction that you are having with someone is from a totally different background and specialization and sector. So this work will have no significance for him. You're understanding my point?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So always assess, always assess. Now I have these, now that you have this Pandora box of elements of various introduction scripts, you will now know instantly when you will start practicing, okay, which are the points that I need to, pick up here and start talking about myself. What is going to be relevant to this conversation? So this will not come in the first go. This will need consistent amount of practice again and again and again, which is why today when we were asking you guys to introduce, this was a golden opportunity for all of you to practice. And it doesn't matter whether you're doing a good job or a bad job. At this point of time, it is irrelevant. What is important is that you take the initiative to come forward and get out of your comfort zone, because until you don't break that mental barrier which is there in your head right now, you will not be able to overcome public speaking. Okay, and that's the number one fear that we as trainers find in students, that they really, really fear communication skills or interacting with others and things like that. And the only way to do it is just practice, practice, practice. Take every opportunity that comes your way in the next 2 years to grab it and just, go forward, get off your shyness and just participate as much as possible. Eventually you will start to transform and you will find yourself as a completely changed person.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Anybody else who has a question? This is a very important session, and okay, there are some questions in the chat box.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Purnima. I wanted to ask that what is that one catchy line we can put while introducing ourselves, like when we are going for some interviews? It's just that we put up the resume in the front of the interviewer and we can't straight saying like my name is Purnima Singh. So what will be your advice to give that one line to start the introduction in front of anyone?
So I am totally against spoon feeding. So I will not give you inputs here, because I want you to apply your own thoughts to this very critical question. So it could be anything, Purnima. You, like I said, and I've been repeating, be as creative as possible. Sky is the limit as far as changing the format is concerned. You could start with a description of yourself. You could start with a proverb. You could start with a poem. You could start with an anecdote. You could start with a life philosophy you abide in. You could start about your own ethics and values as a person. It's up to you. But there is absolutely no limit and no limit to the creative aspect of how you can start off the introduction. And typically people always start with name and introduction. It can totally start from a very different element. So the way to find out how you can do it is to first write down your introduction. And then, like I said, once you have a written format, re-edit it and see what comes out of it in the second draft, and then in the third draft, and then in the fourth draft. And this will keep changing, Purnima. Okay, this will not remain the same. Okay, and really think of very creative stuff. Like there are times when students talk about their cities, but when they start off with talking about their cities, some students start off talking about their extracurricular activities, some start off talking about who they are as a person. Some start off talking about something completely different. So it depends on what you feel and what resonates with you as a person. It should not be the same for everyone. In fact, for everybody in the group, it should be very customized, very unique, but the script has to be formed by you. You will have to sit down and pen down your thoughts after writing down these 20 elements and see, okay, for me as a person, what is the most important thing that I would like to highlight in the beginning? And start off from there.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome. So I have some questions in the chat box. Let me see if we've already covered them. So Manori has asked how to tell what exactly the other person wants to know. Rather, Manori, it's the other way around. Okay. So like I said, this is like a steering wheel, which is absolutely your hands. So the way you will speak and in the direction you will take the conversation is where the car will go, the car of this conversation. So rather than guessing what the other person is wanting to know from you, you will be the one who will be keeping them in a guessing mode as to what information do you want to give to them. So that is my answer to you. And Razil has said poem never. Well, that was just one suggestion, Razil. It is not something, Razi, sorry. It is not something that I'm saying you do that only. All I'm saying is be creative with your responses. right? You don't have to start off with your name. You don't have to start off with your educational background, which is what typically people do all the time. Okay. So think of something very unique about yourself or about your life or about your experiences or about your learning, whatever it is that you want to pick and which resonates with you as an individual. Take that point and then start off your introduction. Poem was just an example that I gave you. It is not meant for everyone to pick up what means and resonates with you. Okay, and what are the other questions? We'll just see. Yeah, so Razi again has a very important question. In real life, when someone is honest, then that person loses the job. Yes, that could be true, and it happens to a lot of people at times. But to be very honest, these people who are sitting on the other side of the desk will really catch you in like seconds if you're not being honest about yourself, because this is how they have been trained to assess you. Okay, all throughout their career, this is what they have done. So it's very easy. And what could be more embarrassing to get caught red-handed speaking something which is not true and authentic information, right? And companies take this kind of stuff very seriously. Sometimes, if they find it very offensive, they bar you, they kind of ban you from the entire sector for even applications elsewhere. So you have to be very careful. I'm saying that please be honest and transparent, but at the same time, be smart with your answers. Use your wisdom. Know what to say at what time. Have that skill and assessment. And this is something which will again come with practice. So the first step is not to jump to, a person who's going to be interviewing you. The first step right now for you is to write down your introduction, which is the exercise that I've given to you. Okay. Okay. And Anirudh has asked, can we go beyond our professional titles while introducing ourselves? Of course, absolutely. Like I said, you could talk about your own personality, you could talk about who you are as a person, you could talk about your life's experiences, you could start off from anywhere. There is no such format. Break the format is what I'm trying to tell all of you. And yeah, and Navdeep has a question. If during the interview at any moment we feel that the interview is not going in the right direction, then how to bounce back in that situation? Now, this is a very tricky question. See, sometimes what happens is there are interviewers who are, bound to give you very stress kind of format of interviews, and there are interviewers who are very relaxed interviewers. So there are various kinds of people, who come and interview you, and they can give you any format to discuss and to interact with. So if you don't know something, say honestly, I'm really sorry, but I do not know this information, right? It is always better to acknowledge and accept rather than, forcing yourself to formulate answers which will not help you in the future. So just acknowledge and say, I'm so sorry, but I do not know about this particular topic, or I do not know about this particular area that we are conversing in. I would like if you could move on to the next question, that would be great. So this is a very polite way of letting the other person know that I am being transparent enough to let you know that I do not know about this, and yet I am ready for the next challenge in terms of the next question that you can pose in front of me. Yeah, so Kanika, I hope you got the answer. There was a question which was just posted by Kanika right now, and that was the exact answer. So Shahbaz has written how much correct it is to speak about political topics when asked in the interview. Well, if the interviewer is asking you specific topics on politics and is asking your opinion, you can always share that opinion. There's no problem. But never speak about these topics on your own. Okay, because these are very emotional and controversial and very emotion invoking topics, and this is precisely why the interviewer is asking you these questions, because they want to assess you, in terms of emotional stability, they want to assess you as to how you will respond in a situation like this. So you have to be very, careful in terms of handling that. Yeah. So, okay, Vishal has asked a very important question. Where do you see yourself from whatever years from now, and why did you choose PGDA? And these questions comes from the interviewer after introduction. Yes, true, Vishal. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you do not prepare for these questions, because it is it is so important to have clarity to be able to answer these questions to the other person. And let me tell you, as a trainer who's been training students for the last 15 years on these questions, I have come across maybe just 5% of the students that I've trained till now who've had crystal clear clarity as to why they chose PGDBM and why they chose a particular specialization. Very, very few students have that kind of clarity. So, yes, it will not be part of your introduction, but it can also be a part of your introduction. There is no such format, where you have to say, oh, it cannot be a part of the introduction. You can very easily say, there is a reason why I have chosen this, specialization, and I would also like to share why I feel I'm the right person to be hired in terms of whatever, whatever, whatever. So all those points can be definitely included in your introduction, provided you are confident enough to answer them. If you're not, then when the interviewer asks these specific question, then you can answer them. So what do you have special in yourself so that we choose you among all the candidates? So that is exactly the element that we noted down in the introduction. What is your USP? What is your unique trait and characteristic? What can you contribute to the company is what you need to answer here. So like I said, the first step, the basic step for you is to write down your introduction. We are jumping to the placement process right now, which is something you are not going to be facing for the next 1 year. You are right now in the nursery level. So let's deal with the nursery level curriculum, which is you need to first become confident about speaking and communicating your thoughts. And even before that, you have to be clear about what you want to speak to the other person, right? So please today write down a script, a written document of what you want to share in your introduction. We will be leaving behind our email IDs with the coordinators today. And if you feel you want to share those written introductions, those scripts with us, we would love to go through it and give you our feedback. Okay, but that's a totally voluntary thing. It's not an assignment. If you want to get your introductions assessed by us, we would love to give you our inputs. Neha, would you like to add anything?
No, I think largely you have covered almost everything. And as Mekhla has very rightly said, that, it's kind of a remote control that you give to a recruiter, right? And instead of that, generally also you need to, introduce yourself in a personal or in a professional kind of a setup. And whatever inputs you give in your introduction will lead to a plethora of questions. And that whole responsibility is in your hands only, right? So right from the kind of hobbies that you, yeah. So in case, you are mentioning some hobbies, right? So, there is a very high probability that they can ask you further questions related to your hobbies, right? So whatever information similarly you give in your introduction, that will lead to another question. So that is why whenever you are building your introduction, you have to be crystal clear, and you have to be so thoughtful about each and every word that you will be using. And yeah, so I think mostly you have covered, and you need to prepare your introduction from today only, right? You shouldn't be waiting for your placements to start to prepare your introduction. You should start to prepare a basic introduction from today only. You have a lot of inputs now. So I think that with those inputs, you can tailor your introduction, and then all of you can create very different and creative introductions for yourself. And in introductions only, it's a very good idea to give examples if you can, right? But for that, you need to really introspect, and you need to really sit and give some time and think about some real life examples that you can relate to, and then you can present and make your introductions really creative from others. Yeah. And while Mekhla was sharing that, you really need to be yourself, and recruiters are very smart that they can, make out that whether you are lying or not. So especially when it comes to hobbies and skill sets, kids do, fudge up their answers and they provide very fake terms. For example, you would say that I'm a very hardworking person, or I am very disciplined, or I can manage things really well. So, but when they start to grill you on those skill sets, you fail to respond them, right? So, whenever you are writing some skill set for yourself, especially, you need to have a backup prepared, right? A real life example prepared to respond further questions, right? Similarly for hobbies and areas of interest also. So I'll give you just an example. When I was in my MBA, when I was actually starting to look for colleges, and the admission process was going on, interviews were happening. So I had gone for one college and for the admission process. So they asked me about, myself, and I immediately jumped upon my hobbies. And I generally said, due to lack of, guidance, that I love dancing. So you will not believe, the recruiter just grilled me on one particular area, which was dance. So he asked me, which form of dance do you like? So I told them that, I can do bhangra, or I can do a ghumar, or sort of that. Because I was so clueless about it, because I generally just said that, I like dancing. So then he asked me further questions. What is the difference between the two? And then he went into the technicalities, right? So of course, I'm not expecting you to be, an expert in your hobby, right? But at least you should have a clarity of what you're going to tell them, right? It should not be something that you really do in life, right? So, and that all will come only when you will really invest some time on a day-to-day basis to make your introductions really interesting. And you can keep on changing your introductions as and when you have some experience, right? So when you will do your summer internship, you will add that information to your introduction. If you do some live project, you can add that information to your introduction. So similarly, at different stage of your life, your introduction will get changed. So the whole idea is, to first of all have an idea about yourself, and then you can just create some beautiful story around it.
Okay, Naveen, I'll ask how to lie in interview. So, Navdeep, my honest and humble request to you is, if you don't want to spoil your career ahead, please do not lie in any interview. This is a big no, and this will really mess up your life and career for sure. I can tell you, because I worked with a financial services company called GE Capital and Fidelity Investments for almost 10 years. And I know how seriously these guys, take up these kind of things. And it is something which I don't feel as an individual we should start the new foundation of our life on. Why do you want to start something, a new part of your life, based on lying and not answering correctly? And I would even go one step further and say, if a company rejects you based on honest answers, it is better not to work for a company like that, and it's better to move on to someone else who will appreciate you for who you really are. At least that's the way I think as a trainer. And I think I have always had this kind of thought process, even when I was an HR manager. And I was part of the recruitment team for both GE and Fidelity for a fairly long time. So I knew that this was the philosophy that these companies truly believed in. And this is where I feel that lying is a big no. So even if you have these thoughts happening in your mind, you should just drop them right now. So I
Sure.
think we can move on to the next session, Neha.
Yes. Yeah. So, this was all about a lot of gyan that we have imparted to you. So we need to do a very small game and activity here, so that I can wake you guys up, because you just had meal and then a lot of gyan has been exchanged. So we'll play a very small guessing game here. So during the lockdown, I'm I'm sure that all of you got involved into a lot of cooking, especially, and some of you shared in your introduction also. And those who are on Instagram, I think all of you must be on Instagram. People have shared a lot of stories about their cooking, and everybody has become a master chef at home. So all of you must have experimented with cooking something in your kitchen. So regarding that only, I have a game for you. So what I'm gonna do is I will share a small presentation here, and just a minute, I'll just share and then I can explain you guys. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So the game is guessing the food. So what I'm going to do is, yeah. So I will share the ingredients of one particular dish one by one on the screen. And then you will have to guess what dish you can create out of those ingredients. And you can feel free to interrupt in between also. Is it clear to everyone? I hope you can see the slides.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you can just, if you want to guess the name of the dish, you can just unmute yourself and then you can. Okay. So I'm sharing the first slide.
Egg.
Spanish omelette.
Omelette.
Egg curry.
Omelette, egg curry.
Egg curry.
Well,
Okay, let me show you other
Cake.
ingredients.
Pastries.
Sandwiches.
ma'am, paneer tikka sandwich.
Bread roll.
Sandwiches. Sandwiches.
Egg omelette, ma'am.
Just a minute. Somebody has a lot of background noise. Can you please put yourself on mute? So the images I'm showing you right now are related to just one dish, right? So you can just guess in between also if you can decide upon the dish.
Omelette.
Now you can guess.
Cake.
No. Anyone else?
French toast.
Very good. Who has guessed this?
Megha.
Oh, great, Megha. I'm sure Megha has done a lot of cooking at home. So this is French toast. Let's move on to other dish. Okay. All the cheese lovers should be able to guess this.
Pizza. Lasagna. Pasta.
Somebody said
White sauce pasta. White sauce pasta.
White sauce pasta.
White sauce.
Pizza.
it's pizza. It's pizza.
Pizza, man.
Flour. Pizza.
All
Them.
the Italian cuisine lovers could immediately guess after looking at the cheese. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. This I think everybody should be able to guess because everybody has prepared this particular dish in quarantine.
New cake.
French fries.
French fries.
Aloo dum.
That is loved by every Indian, I think.
Aloo dum.
Aloo pakode. Aloo ke pakode something.
Aloo parathe.
I can't hear you.
Aloo
Can you?
Aloo parathe.
Ma'am, pakode. Aloo chaat or aloo pakoda.
Aloo paratha.
It's a samosa actually. So I could Instagram of people preparing samosa at home.
And there is a lot of noise coming from Aparna actually.
A lot of noise.
Yeah, now it's much better. So I'm sure that many of you must
But I
have
could
prepared
still
samosa in
hear the
quarantine.
noise. Sorry about that. I think it's from someone else's side.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next dish. All of you can guess this, I think.
छोले भटूरे.
छोले भटूरे मैम.
No, it's a little difficult, but
Hummus.
yes, yes, yes. Correct. Absolutely correct. It's hummus. You guys are very quick. So we have great chefs in this class, I think. Okay, so this is the next dish.
Chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Chocolate cake. Yes, and chocolate cake.
And
All
cake.
the
Cake.
foodies could guess just by looking at the chocolate. Yeah. I think that's it. That was all about this very small game. You guys are foodies and you guys are great chefs, I believe, because most of you could guess even by looking at the first image. So that was very good. And I hope nobody's feeling hungry now after discussing so much about food. So my intention was, just to wake up few people who are not getting much involved in the training. So I hope now they can run to the kitchen and they will be more alive now. So that was all about a very small game that we just conducted, and I hope you guys had some fun. And now we can move on to the next session with full energy. So in the next session also we do have a very interesting activity in place, and when we do it physically, kids really enjoy and there is a lot of engagement that happens during this game. But we have decided to conduct it digitally also. So let's see how it goes. So the next session is basically about the best practices that you as MBA students must adopt. So regarding that only, we have an activity called as dumb charades. So all of you know about dumb charades? So basically, yeah. So just for those who do not know about it, basically what happens, I will give one chit or one term to the person who will volunteer to act, who will volunteer to participate. So that one person will act whatever term is there on the chit, and others as audience can start to guess. So for guessing, what we can do is you can write down in the chat, because otherwise there will be a lot of noise and we'll not be able to find out the correct answer, right? So I have 7 such chits, and any 7 people, they can, volunteer and tell me who wants to participate.
They can put their names in the chat box. I think that will be better. The ones who
Yeah,
want
you
to
can.
volunteer.
Right. We can do that way. You can just write down your name in the chat if you want to participate and act. We have 2 people. Shabaz, Siddhant. We need 5 more. Tanjul is there. We have 3 now. 4 more brave-hearted people, please. You will not regret doing this. So we have now Shabaz, Siddhant, Tanjul, Ishika, Harshit, Pankaj, and Purnima. Okay, we have got 7 people now. Okay, no more entries now. So I am messaging 7 of you on your individual chats the term that you will have to enact. So don't speak out that term that I am messaging you. Just keep it to yourself. So first I am messaging to Shabaz. I can't see Shabaz in the. Okay. Got it. Shabaz, I'm sure you have received the term. Don't speak it aloud, just keep it yourself. And you have to now enact the term that I have given to you. For that, you will have to turn your video on. Shabaz, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you will have to turn your video on.
Yes, ma'am. It's already on.
To speak, or we have to write in chat box?
I have given it to you in the chat box. So I have given a term to Shahbaz. So what he has to do is he will have to turn his video on and then he will have to enact, right? You will basically, you can use your hands or do something, some gesture so that they can guess what is
Actually,
the term.
Pankaj is asking if the response is to be given in the
Ah,
chat or
yes.
verbal answer.
Yes, you can give it in the chat.
Okay.
Shahbaz, can we start?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Okay. Audience, be ready. Shahbaz, I can't see you. I don't know about others.
Ma'am, we can see him.
Yeah.
We can see Shabu.
Yes.
I can't
can
see
see.
him. I think I have a network issue. Okay. Now I can see him. Okay, Shahbaz, you can start.
Water.
Drinking.
How many words are there? Like
Do it again. Do it 2-3 times.
5 words.
5 words. Okay.
Okay.
Somebody said drinking, somebody saying nasha. No, guys, you are going on a very different path. Let's get back. These are terms which are related to your management course. I think Shahbaz is having a tough time enacting this term.
Okay.
Shahbaz, you're not visible to us now. At least not to me.
We can see him. We can see him.
Okay.
Shabas, keep doing. Yes, keep doing. Yeah. Okay.
Those who can see Shahbaz can start to respond in the chat box.
Ma'am, I want to ask one thing.
Please ask.
Ma'am, it is a name of a movie or a song or something else.
No, that's what I said in the beginning. So it's a term, it's basically a skill that, something that you should do as an MBA graduate. Right?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Talking about
It's
taking.
not a movie. So somebody's saying sunlight. No, it's not sunlight. Grasping. Someone is close.
Drinking water daily.
It's absorbing kind of thing. You are
Who said this?
observing. Absorbing.
Observation or absorbing.
Absorbing.
Yeah, it's absorb. I can't make out who has guessed the term.
Ronak, ma'am.
Ronit. Okay. Great, Ronit.
Thank you, ma'am.
So Ronit has guessed the first term, which is absorb, and absorb. So we will get on the part wherein I will explain you a little bit about absorb. But let's move on to the next term.
For guessing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Abbas is not visible.
Siddhant, you also volunteered to participate, right?
Yes, ma'am. Can I act?
Time management. Time management. Discipline or punctuality.
Yes, right. Ma'am, is he right now?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, it's time management and
It
self-discipline.
was a very quick guess. So it is time management and self-discipline. Very good, Siddhant. Who volunteered next?
I did.
Anjali.
Yes, my office is invited.
Okay, Anju. Anjali, you can check your chat box.
Yes, can I start?
Yes, please.
Observation.
Concentration.
Concentration.
Concentrate.
Focus. 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 Isn't that? Okay. Sorry, I can't see your hands.
Writing.
Studying. Reporting.
Observing.
Lesson,
Reporting.
right?
Analyzing.
Learning.
Kajal, do it.
Focus on studies.
Focus on your work.
Concentration. Focus on your goal.
Focus on your work.
Presentation.
Writing down your goals.
Your goals.
Exams.
Nine.
Okay. Paper.
Okay.
Focus.
Can I use props?
Listening.
Far-sightedness. Long-term goals.
Teacher.
Future. Focus on your future.
Teacher.
Focus on your targets.
Oh, singing or what?
Focusing.
Singing. Singing.
Conversation. Conversing. Focusing.
Teaching. Communication.
Do something else
Is it a management firm or like
Focusing.
Focusing on.
Singing or what?
Long-term goals. Focus on long-term
Focus
goals.
is there or not? Focus word is there or not?
Focus is
okay.
Okay. Focus is there.
Pranjal, you can tell them how many words are there and then accordingly you tell them. You can add the
Three
number
words.
1 word and number 2 word.
It is a sentence or a
Focusing.
individual words.
First is focus.
First word is focusing. First word is focusing.
On.
Okay.
Focus on.
Second
Focus
word.
on.
Focus on.
Third word.
They are all connected.
Focus on listening.
On
Angel, you should read the term again.
motives. Nature.
Environment. What is this?
Objectives.
Focusing on work.
Third
Some
word. Third
writing
word.
skills.
Bola, I think. Open.
Focus on writing skills.
Skills. Writing
Focus on skills.
skills.
Focus on your skills.
Focus on skills. Focus on skills. Okay.
I think you
Okay.
have guessed it almost correct. It's skills to focus on,
Yes.
right? So basically, we will talk about the skills that you as MBA graduates can focus on. Okay. So who is next? I have sent all of you your terms that you need to enact. So anybody can come forward and start. Ishika, you can enact.
Ma'am, I don't receive.
Ma'am, Ishika's screen is freezing.
Right. Even I can't see her.
What happened, Nehaji? Is there any issue?
No, sir. An activity is going on.
Okay. Fine.
Ishika, it's enacting. I can't see her actually.
Actually, her video is pausing. There was some internet speed issue, so
Yes,
her
ma'am.
video is pausing. Yes.
Should we skip Ishika's right now and she can perform at the end? Meanwhile, she.
Purnima can do this. Purnima is there and video is also streamed.
Yeah, Purnima, you can enact.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Who is presenting next?
It's can you?
Not able to see. Yeah, now I can see. Yes.
Yeah. Should I?
One word.
One word, that's it.
Okay, one word.
One word.
Typing.
Typing.
Word.
Writing.
Focus on
Work. Typewriter.
I think it's
Online.
Computing.
Laptop.
Communication.
Is it research?
Keys.
Updated. Stay updated.
Excel.
Analysis.
Patient.
Levels.
Distribution.
Piano.
Screen.
Email. Email.
SEO.
Three different parts of the same word.
Division of work.
Prioritization.
Teamwork. Typing.
being not visible.
Compiling.
E-commerce.
Net.
Networking.
Searching.
Presentation.
Networking.
Networking. Working.
Networking.
Social media.
Networking.
Social media.
Socializing.
Okay, networking का answer.
Yeah. Someone guessed networking. Who guessed?
Uh,
I have guessed. If I hear, I can't make a.
Samaparna.
Saparna, very good. And very good, Purnima. You tried your best. Can we have Ishika? I think Ishika has some network issue. Meanwhile, the other person can enact.
Can I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Am I visible?
You are visible, Ishika, but your video is pausing frequently. It is not a smooth video. It is pausing.
Okay.
Ishika, I think there is some network issue at your end. Your
Wait a
screen,
second, ma'am.
your screen is freezing in between. Harshit is also there. Harshit or Harshita? Harshit, you can enact meanwhile. I have sent you the term on your window chat. Harshit is there. Harshit Naveen. Or the other. No, Harshit Naveen.
Ma'am, am I audible and clear?
Yeah, you're audible, Ishika.
Can I start enacting?
I'm not sure if everyone can see you.
She is visible.
Yes, ma'am, she is visible.
She is visible, but her screen is freezing somehow,
You are
ma'am.
not.
Ishika,
It's
you're
lacking.
not visible to everyone actually. So what we can do is we can involve you in some other activity wherein we do not require a video. Yeah.
Okay, no issues.
Meanwhile, Harshit, you can enact.
Ma'am, but I didn't receive the.
Who is Harshit Naveen then? Are there two Harshits in the class?
Yes, see, ma'am, Harshit
Yes.
Katyar is there. His video is visible. Harshit Katyar is there. Naveen, I cannot see.
I'm
Sir,
here, but he
with your
volunteered.
permission, I would like to say one thing. Mekla, if any student is not able to switch on the camera, I think we can skip the student because in this they are supposed to show an enact.
Sorry, come again, Ankit.
I was saying that if any student is not able to switch on the camera, like Harshit Naveen, you are calling again and again. I think there is one student with Harshit Katyar. So we can take this student.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Harshit Katyar, I have sent you the term. You can start to
Okay,
enact.
I received.
Take over.
Three words. Okay, three words. First word. Start.
You, self, myself.
Myself, me,
Yourself.
Me, myself.
Ours. Ourselves.
concentrate,
Come again. Do the action again in your video was present.
someone,
Can do it. Can you do again?
Do it again, but a little slow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
First
Word.
word.
One word. Okay.
First
You.
word.
Myself. Me.
Myself.
Yourself. Use we in place of I.
Actually, his video is also pausing. What is it?
Analyze. Analyzing yourself.
Should I disclose? You are unable, yes, and you are unable to enact also. So his term was know it all. You tried your best, Harshit. Thank you so much. I think we can now wrap up the game because there are some network issues. So we are left with, I think, one more term, but I will disclose it on the slide itself. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. So as you can see, these are some of the terms, which you as MBA graduates must adopt in your day-to-day life. And I will give a
Ma'am,
very brief explanation.
Neha,
ma'am,
sorry
it's
for
not
the
visible
interruption.
now.
Neha, your slide is not visible.
Okay.
The PPT is not visible, Neha.
Is it now visible?
Yes. Now it is visible, but still there is a block, which is like a barrier. We are not able to see the clear picture, the clear PPT. Yes, it is getting minimizing. Okay. Still it is there, little bit. Yes,
Now,
now it is perfectly fine. Thank you so much.
Oh God, I think, is it fine now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So number one term is absorb, absorb, and absorb. So when we say that, you need to absorb, so we really want all of you to be like a sponge. So what does a sponge do? You put the sponge in water and it absorbs all the water, right? So similarly, you guys should also get into that mode of absorption, basically. And when we say absorbing, so how can you really absorb? You can absorb right from the classes that are happening, right from the lectures that are being delivered by your faculty, any kind of guest speaker who comes in and delivers something to you, any kind of life project opportunity that you get, the summer internship opportunity that you will get in future, right? And even the interactions with your friends in the classroom, for that matter. So basically, keeping your eyes and ears open all the time and being into that mode of absorption, right? So that is very, very essential. See, academics will definitely play a very important role, and your percentage and your scorecard will, of course, play a very important role. But you also need to develop an overall dynamic personality, and you need, for that you need to participate in everything that's happening around you, right? So you have to keep your eyes and ear open all the time and being into that mode of absorption, and really be there whenever there is some interaction or discussion going on. So you cannot really treat your MBA just like your graduation days. Of course, there will be a lot of fun factor also in MBA, but there has to be a lot of hard work, and attention is the key to it, right? So you really have to be present in any kind of discussion that happens around you. Number two is time management and self-discipline. So time management and self-discipline is, I think, very much self-explanatory. And it may sound very cliche to all of us because, since we were kids, our parents used to tell us, to manage our time, to get up on time, to do things on time, right? So in MBA specifically, you will, feel the need of managing your time and getting into that mood of discipline. You will feel yourself that you really need to manage your time. So I used to do, what I used to do is, I used to create a beautiful calendar and I used to post it in front of my table. So that's how I used to stick to my schedule and have a proper calendar for me. So whatever works for you, just do that, so that you do not find yourself trapped in between your work and there is no time for you to relax. So you really need to manage your time properly, because in MBA, it's just the starting, and there will be a lot of lectures that will happen, and in between you will be given some deadlines to your assignments, to your projects. So there will be multiple things that will go side by side, so you will have to divide your time properly, and for that you have to be really disciplined, right? So again, I'm not asking you to be a bookworm, but if you want to be a part of everything, you really need to manage your time properly so that you can give your time to everything. Yeah.
Here, I would just what Neha is sharing. So, we all know that we are going through these times of pandemic where everything is happening virtually. We are all working from, our computers, our system. And I think all of you must have realized that in the last 6 to 8 months of working in this kind of online platform, time management, self-discipline, and taking self-responsibility has become very, very important. If you don't manage your time with your schedule from morning till night, nothing can really take place. So I think that learning has now happened for almost every person, whether working, non-working, student, professional, that this period, especially when we are all working from our respective homes or studying from our homes, time management, self-discipline, and self-responsibility. This has become a very key, element for all of us to understand, absorb, and really implement, and specifically in these times. So I cannot overemphasize. This is like such a very, very important thing that I wanted to share. Yeah, go ahead, Neha.
So number third is self SWOT analysis. I don't know if many of you have heard this term, but you must have heard this term, those who are from a commerce background. So what is a SWOT analysis? Anybody would like to share? Those who have an idea about it?
Strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat.
Yeah.
How we convert our weaknesses by strengths, and how we convert our threats into our opportunity.
Correct, correct. So a SWOT analysis is basically strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. So that is the definition of a SWOT. And when I ask you to do a self SWOT analysis, I really want you to introspect in yourself and create a list of your strengths, areas that you feel you're not so good at, which are your weaknesses. And then, similarly, when you know what are your strengths and when you know what are your weaknesses, you can play with your strengths and you can have a plan of action to work on your weaknesses, right? So for example, I was a medical student, I told you in my introduction. So I did not have any idea about commerce, and I did not have any idea about any of the MBA subjects, especially accounts. So when I joined MBA, there was kind of a very big scene about accounts, that it's the most difficult subject of all. And since me coming from a medical background, I already made up my mind that this is a very weak area for myself. But since I knew that this was a weak area for me, I already had a plan of action to work on that weaker area, and so that you can work on it and use it as your strength in future. So similarly for you, your strength can be different, your weakness can be different, right? So some of you said that you want to be a public speaker, but you do not have that confidence of really addressing an audience, right? So when you know that you want to be a public speaker, but at the same time your communication skills are weak, so you can have a plan of action from day one, and you can start to work over it, right? So that was all about strength and weaknesses. So similarly, you also need to focus on your opportunities. So opportunities here can be a lot for you. So today this workshop is kind of an opportunity for many of you. I believe those who introduced and who came forward and spoke about themselves must have felt some amount of confidence coming in, right? So similarly, you will have a lot of opportunities when you will physically go to the college. Also, there will be plenty of things that you can be a part of. And even now at home also, I'm sure there are seminars happening, there are conferences happening for you, there will be life projects, and you will be going for internships. You can be a part of the placement cell in future. So these are all opportunities that will come your way. But if you keep your eyes and ears open, then only you will be able to be a part of these opportunities and grab the best out of them, right? So you have to keep a very close eye on whatever opportunities are coming to your way, so that at the end of your second or third semester, when you go for your final placements, you have a very solid resume and you are ready, to face the recruiter with a lot of information about yourself, right? Because that will really help you build a very dynamic personality, and you will know a lot of stuff, right? So we don't want ourselves to be a bookworm. We want to be someone who knows each and every stuff that happens around us. And the last one is threat. So who can be a threat for you? Can anybody guess?
Only weak threat to
The
ourselves.
threat is this epidemic is also a threat for the economy, which
Yeah, but that's for everyone, of course. Try to think more.
and due to
Ma'am,
this
sometimes,
the economic.
yeah, Pankaj,
Yeah,
continue.
somebody
I
was
will
saying
speak after
something
you.
sometimes.
Sometimes, like, our overconfidence become a threat for us. Like when we are too much confident about something, then it becomes a threat in the long run as well.
Yeah, that will count. That will be counted as your weakness, right?
Yes.
So
And
threat.
threat
If
is
we
like
think threat,
due to this pandemic, the economic conditions are going bad, and which will create a threat for us to place in a good company or at a good package, which we uh, can do in the past.
yeah. Right. So that is a threat that is being imposed on the whole world, of course, and it's your own threat also. But when we do a self SWOT analysis, your threats will be the people who are in the
Yes,
same
ma'am.
boat with you.
Competitors.
Yes, your competitors. So people who will be applying for the same job to which you are applying, right? So, and these are of course your batchmates, but there are several individuals outside IMS also who will be, appearing for the same role, right? So they are all your threats, right? So I'm not asking you to befriend your friends. Of course, you have to have friends in your class, but at the end, or at the end of MBA, everybody is here to be a learner individual, and the ultimate goal for all of us is to get good jobs, good placement, right? So, like today, you guys have done a hopes and fear exercise for yourself, wherein you wrote what are your hopes, what are your fears about future. Similarly, if you can take out some time and do a SWOT analysis for yourself, that will really help you in the long run. So I would request all of you to go back home and try to create a SWOT analysis for yourself, write down your strengths, figure out what are your weaknesses, and then whatever opportunities come your way, try to be a part of them. Number 4 is knowing it all. So when I say knowing it all, it's self-explanatory, I think. You basically need to update yourself, right? And you need to know whatever is happening across the world, correct? So because that is very important. One is that, when you know a lot of things, when you are very knowledgeable in your head and when you have an idea of whatever is happening in the world, you feel very confident about yourself. And secondly, you really need to keep yourself updated because you will be sitting in group discussions in the future. And in group discussions, the topics vary from current affairs to anything that happens in the politics or any other topic can be given to you. And you will only be able to deliver your best if you keep yourself updated. Correct. And for that, you can read newspapers. You can, all of you have smartphones, so you can have apps which keeps on sending you some or the other information after every hour, and then you can have a look at it. So basically, you have to get into that habit of updating yourself. And I know that, reading newspaper is very boring for most of us, and reading anything is very boring for most of us who are not into the habit of reading. So it will be a very good thing that you can do to yourself. It can be a very good gift that you can give to yourself to start reading every day, right? And reading, we will focus upon reading in the next session, which is on communication skills. And we will be guiding you how you can develop the habit of reading. But the key is basically you have to be in touch with whatever is happening around you. And for that, you have to either read newspaper or you have to either read other kind of books. So that is all about knowing it all. Number 5 is networking. Networking is again very, very important. So how have you guys planned? How do you want to network in the coming few days? Anybody can share? Anybody wants to share?
Ma'am, linking is one of those soaps.
What? I can't hear you. What did
Ma'am,
you say?
ma'am, linking.
Okay, yes. That's a very good platform for you to connect and network. What else? Anybody wants to add to her point? Much idea of how do you want to network, but I can guide you through. So of course, you need to have a LinkedIn account. I don't know how many of you have a LinkedIn account. So being there on LinkedIn is one thing, but how active you are on LinkedIn is another thing, right? So if you really want to network with people, you really need to have a very active LinkedIn account, just the way you are active on Instagram or Facebook for that matter. You can be very, very active on LinkedIn. So maybe currently you do not have much of information that you can post on LinkedIn, but with more experience when when you are a part of some activity or when you are a part of some life project or as you progress in your MBA, you will have some content that you can post on LinkedIn, and you can then build a very solid profile. And therein you can network with a lot of people. So that's one way how you can network with professionals all over the world. Another way is basically, you can do things within your institution also. So for example, people who come from the outside world, from the corporate world, guest speakers, or the seminars that take place in your institution. So what you can do is you can generally be in touch with with those people, with the speakers who come in. You can take their email IDs and you can be in touch with them basically. Similarly, you can be a part of your placement cell also, because that's another thing that really helps you to network, and uh, you can be in touch with your alumni at the same time. So that's how these are very small things, which you may feel that, okay, we will do it later. But if you start to do it from day one, they will really help you through your MBA. And at the end of the MBA, you will see a great change in your personality, basically. So you really need to think through that how you want to network, and you really need to have a plan of action, and then you act accordingly.
Yeah, and just to add to what Neha was sharing, networking can also be done with not just corporate and industry people, but also with your alumni. Your alumni are a treasure house of experience or skills. They're working in very reputed places and companies, and not just for placements and opportunities, but generally to just be in touch with them, learn from their experiences, understand what are the kind of challenges that are there in their life, how are they working through them. It will just be a wonderful learning platform for you to also network with your alumni. So I just thought I'll add that. You can go ahead, Neha.
So, number 6 is skills to focus on. So, when we say skills to focus on, what comes to your mind immediately? Anybody wants to share what skills do you need to focus on as a management student?
Communication skills,
Communication skills, of course.
Excel.
Very well said. That's
Ma'am,
very important.
leadership qualities or the leading skills.
Yeah,
Reading skill.
Presentation skills.
right. Presentation skills, soft skills, and leadership skills, communication skills, of course. Somebody has written IT skills, which is basically technical skills.
Prioritization skill.
Yeah. So that will all come under your managerial skill sets. So somebody has written in the chat box IT skills. So very well responded that IT skills, technical skills basically is one thing that we neglect at times, right? So those who will be in finance or marketing, they will definitely be doing a lot of Excel tools and all of that. But in general, for everyone, MS Office skills are very, very important, and not only the basics of it, right? So when we talk about MS skills, I want you to know the advanced level of it, right? So Excel is going to be an integral part of your life as a professional. You will be working a lot on Excel sheets, and of course, you will have to create presentations. You will be working on Word document, of course, on a day-to-day basis. But for all of that, you can use your MBA as a platform to really brush up your MS Office skill set. And if you feel that you do not get that kind of support, you can enroll yourself on any online course. There are various platforms which provide this kind of information for free of cost. So you really need to, have that agenda in mind that, at, at the same time, when you are building upon your communication skills, you also need to focus a lot on your technical skills. So we cannot afford to neglect your technical skills also, right? And communication skills goes without saying that it is the number one criteria for recruiters, right? So we will be covering a whole detailed session on communication skills ahead. But these are the kind of skills that you really need to focus on. So soft skills is of course number one, which will include your communication skill, your body language and everything. And number two is your technical skills. So the last term is de-stress. So de-stress is of course very, very important. And these coming few months would be a roller coaster ride for all of you. So of course we cannot lose our sanity in between, right? So you really need to have a proper schedule for yourself wherein you can find out some time to pursue your hobby, to pursue your area of interest, for reading some book, for writing some blog, for watching some movies, hanging out with your friends. So all of that is also very essential along with your academics, right? So you have to have some schedule for yourself, whatever works for you the best. But all I'm trying to say is take out some time for yourself and do things that make you really happy. So that was all about some of the terms, some of the things, and these are all very, they may sound very normal to you, but you know, these normal things will really help you grow in during your MBA course. And if you can apply at least two, three of them, you will start to see a change in yourself. So basically, you have to be a sponge. You have to manage your time. You have to do a SWOT analysis for yourself. You have to update yourself. You have to build a network for yourself. And you have to focus on your skills, which are communication and technical skills. And not the least, you have to take out time for your own self also. So that was, I think, all about this session. I will, Meghla, should we move on to the next one?
Yes, yes, yes. So will you stop the presentation?
Meghla, you wanted to show the video?
Yes, yes. So before I start the video, I just wanted to give the students a brief of what this video is about and why I feel it's a very important video to see. So this is a TED Talk video. Have you guys heard of what TED Talk is? Any idea
Yes,
what
ma'am.
a
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So these TikTok videos are a platform in itself, right? Where you have professionals and people coming in from all walks of life, all sectors, all areas, sharing their experiences, sharing their learnings, sharing their failures, sharing everything, you know. And it's a very, very interesting platform to just observe, listen to various speakers, you know, learn a lot from their words of wisdom, and of course also take back in terms of communication, in terms of what they are applying in their life and things like that. So this particular video that I'm going to show is by a guy called Ariel Moody, and he's a black who talked about his challenge that he went through while he was a student, and what kind of things he did to overcome them, and what is the main important learning he has acquired in his life which has made him who he is today. Okay, and it's a very beautiful video. I think you will really enjoy it. So I'm going to do a share a screen, and I hope you'll be able to see it. Just 1 minute. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Can
Yes,
you
ma'am.
see
Yes.
the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Visible? Is it okay or not?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Fine, ma'am.
I hope the audio and the video both are fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It's fine.
Okay, I'm going ahead then.
So what if I told you you've been lied to your whole life? What if I told you that what you've been told since you were a kid about what it takes to become successful is completely wrong? What if I told you that you did not have to be so many of the things you thought you did? Now, you've been lied to, and just for clarity, you weren't lied to by your teachers, by your parents, by the adults in your life because they hate you. You've been lied to because they were just... For example, what if I told you you do not have to be smart to be successful? there are a bunch of really not smart people doing very well. But this is what we're told ever since we're younger. We want to be in the smart class, don't we? Have you ever heard a teacher say something like this to maybe you or one of your classmates? Wow, you finished your work really, really quickly. You must be really smart. Do you know what's being said and implied in that statement? What's being implied is, if it takes you a long time to do something, then you are not smart. So when we're younger, if we come up to an obstacle, we don't go, oh, this is awesome. We go, well, I don't want people to know I'm not smart. But as adults, we all know that anything worth doing takes a lot of time. But we keep saying you gotta be smart. Now, I will prove to you that being smart is not a precursor to success with a simple question. How many of you know someone who's really, really smart, but they're not doing anything productive with how smart they are? Does anyone know someone like that? All of us. So being smart, that can't be what it is. Oh, good news. You know what else you don't need to be? Talented. Talent, completely overrated. We talk about talent. Oh, you're going to go so far. You have so many natural abilities. You're so gifted. Doesn't mean anything. And I'll prove it to you with the same question I just asked you a few moments ago. How many of you know someone, I want you to really think, who is really, really talented? Maybe they're an amazing poet or musician or artist or whatever it is. But they're not doing anything to the level they should with the natural talent that they have. Does anyone know someone like that? So wait, hold on, this doesn't make sense. Wait a minute. So we all know someone who is smart. We all know someone who's talented that's not doing anything. So it can't be smart, intelligence, talent, gifts. And by the way, it's also not being born into the right family, being born rich, or any of those things. It's one thing that nobody can give to you. It's the only thing you can give to yourself that makes the biggest difference. And that word is effort. Effort is everything. Whatever you're not good at, with the right amount of effort, you become good at it. Now, this whole concept was very fascinating to me because when I grew up in the projects in Brooklyn, New York, I was in the smart class in elementary school. I was in the top class, and you know what? We all knew we were in the top class. Oh, and to make it even better, does anyone remember the days when you didn't even have to study for a test and you got good grades? I loved it. And everyone kept telling me, oh, Rel, you're so smart. And I was like, I am smart. Until I hit junior high. And then all of a sudden, I became really dumb. The craziest thing happened. I would be in class, and the teachers would be talking, and I'd be like, you ever had that face where on the outside you look like you're 100% paying attention? But on the inside, you have no idea what's been happening? I mastered that. But I couldn't ask for help because I was the smart kid. Because if I asked for help, it would prove I didn't grasp things quickly. So therefore, I'm not smart. Dr. John Medina, in his work of Brain Rules and Brain Rules for Babies, talks about when we connect our concept of who we are to innate abilities we have no control over, we don't become successful. But when we attach them to things like hard work and effort, we control those. But I didn't know that then. So I did like what I thought was the right thing to do, and I just shut my mouth. And I went on into high school. High school got way worse. I started failing, and I was not a science person. Where are my people? Science, chemistry, biology, it's just not your thing. Like I look at it and you just might as well be speaking a different language. Where are the people? Math. You just suck at math. Like it's just not going to be a good experience, right? I got you. I was with that, okay? So for me, science was my hard subject. And I failed. And I was told I wouldn't be able to graduate unless I passed my science class. So now I'm facing not being able to graduate, having no skills or talents that I can know of. In fact, I played 3 sports in high school and sat on the bench on all 3 of them. So my professional athlete goes out the window. I was in a tough environment. I witnessed people get murdered. I've been robbed, beat up, made fun of. And I thought, I have no future. What's the point? When I was 16, I thought it'd be better to be dead than to be alive. Because what's the point? When I was 16, I went to the roof of my building, I stood on the roof, and I looked down, and I imagined what it would feel like to not have to deal with the pain that I had inside of me. Because what was the point? Not smart, not talented. Luckily, I stepped back from the ledge that day, because I heard this still voice inside of me, and all it said was, not yet. And this voice had to come from a being much greater than me, because again, I'm not smart enough to think this on my own. So with that thought of not yet, I went back into my room. I was just depressed. I am lucky to have people who care about me. I have an amazing mother, awesome brother, fantastic father. And my father saw me and he said, get up, we gotta go for a ride. Like, all right. Jump in his car, he starts driving, and he takes me to this beautiful neighborhood that I'd never seen before. It was only like 15, 20 minutes from our house. And he said, you see this house? You see these cars? He said, one day if you want it, you can have these things. You know, because as a teenager, success is the big house and the big car, right? And I was like, yo, there's no way I'm going to be able to have these things. And then he said something to me that changed the course of my life. What he said was, we were all given the problems we were supposed to be given so that we can face them, overcome them, and that's where we become the person we were meant to be. He said what most people do is they face their problems and then they go, oh, this is proof I don't deserve it. This is proof I'm not supposed to have it. Look at these problems in my life, so they quit. They said when you put in effort, you get to the other side. And on the other side is where the magic happens. That's where success comes from. So I started getting excited. I said, well, how can I apply this in my life? And I was like, well, what better place to apply it than with science? So I went to my chemistry teacher and I said, look, I'd like to graduate. I'm not going to graduate, can't pass this class. I'll make a deal with you. If I can pass the final exam, you give me a passing grade in the class. Because the final exam was cumulative. She said, deal. So I started doing some strange things. During lunch, I would go to tutoring. And I would work with my tutor to understand concepts. Before I went home, before I left school, I would do more tutoring. Then, on my way to school and from school, I would get practice problems, and I would go over the practice problems every single day to and from school. The craziest thing happened after I did that for a few months. I passed the class. I passed the test. And I graduated. So from there, I decided to sneak into college. I like to say I snuck into college because I went to the college that my brother got accepted to because he's smart. I got in, and I said, listen, I'm not going to be the smartest student. By no means. I'm not going to be the most talented student. It's impossible. So how am I going to succeed here? I made a decision early on. Because I'm not smart. I'm not smart. I'm not talented. So if I was in class and I didn't understand something, I would raise my hand until I got it. I would go to office hours and meet with the professor to make sure I understood the concept, not just when the tests were coming out. I would meet with the teacher's assistants to go over the course curriculum to make sure I understood it from that particular professor's perspective. I never handed in a paper without a second set of eyes looking at it. I met up with all the smart kids in class. And by the way, you want to find the smart kids? They sit in the front, they got highlighters. Make friends with them, okay? I made friends with them and I studied in groups with them. And the funniest thing happened. Out of 16,000 students, I was named one of the top 5 exemplary students. This is me back in the day when I had hair. I like to call it the glory days, right? I was an Educational Opportunity Program student, EOP student at Binghamton University. Yes, yes. I was named the most outstanding graduating senior in my class, president of 4 student organizations. When I graduated, I applied the same concepts to my entrepreneurship endeavors and my businesses. So if I ever dealt with a problem like I don't know how to manage people, I'm not good at it, I would change it to, I just need to put more effort into managing people. And I would get good at it. And it's amazing because I started traveling to high schools and colleges and sharing this idea of effort, and effort is everything. And an amazing happens. Now we have a shared language. The students have a language they can communicate to the teachers, and the teachers have a language they can communicate to the students. So no longer is it, oh, I'm just dumb in math. Look, I got a bad grade. It becomes, oh, I got a bad grade. I guess I need to put in more effort in math. Teachers, instead of saying, hey, better luck next time, they can say, hey, you didn't get a good grade. We just need to do more effort. Let's figure it out. The language became created. And it's a mindset that moves away from this natural innate ability and move into something we can control. Carol Dweck has a great book called Mindset, which talks about growth mindset and fixed mindset. Growth mindset says, I can learn and do anything. Fixed mindset says, everything I got, I already got, and it's not going to get better. I believe, and many educators do, that the growth mindset is the way to success. And I believe the pathway to the growth mindset is effort. Effort is everything. And you've experienced this. How many people remember what it was like to learn how to tie your shoes? Does anybody remember this? Have you ever seen a little kid trying to tie their shoes? It's the most frustrating process in the world. Your fingers won't do what your mind's telling it to do. You can't get the bunny ears just right. And then you take your shoe, you throw it out the window, you're like, I just went Velcro! And you just be done with it, right? Just me and Tom's shoes for the rest of my life, right? But the funny thing happens. You don't give up. You believe it's possible one day and you keep doing it, and then something happens. Your brain clicks. And now, I'm confident most of you can tie your shoelaces in the dark. Because of effort. No one's born naturally gifted at tying your shoes. You get that? No one is born naturally smart at the ways of tying shoes. You put in effort, you learn, you get it. That neuroplasticity of the brain does not go away. Barring a healthy functioning brain, of course. You have to move from this idea that you have to be naturally good at something to succeed at it. You don't. You have to put in effort. Effort is everything. Effort is more important than where you're born. It's more important than the money you have in your bank account. So I have full confidence that if I ever lost it, and God willing I don't, what I have, my effort will see me through. You're not good at math, start putting effort towards math. You're not good at science, start putting effort towards science. You want to start a business? Put an effort into starting a business. You want a great marriage? Put in the effort to have a great marriage. People think, well, if it's supposed to be, it's just going to happen. No. If it's supposed to be, you're going to put in the effort to make it be. There's a great quote that I love from Thomas Edison that says, opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work. With effort, you'll take advantage of every opportunity that's in front of you. Effort is everything. And when you put in effort, not only will you take advantage of the opportunities that's in front of you, you'll take advantage and create opportunities you didn't even know existed. Thank you.
So welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. And was it visible, audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You're audible.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the key things, of course, that I really find very inspiring, I will leave behind the link of this video on the chat box before I leave the session today, so that all of you can see it again and again and again. But all I want to say is that, I really like the fact what this speaker says is that talent doesn't mean anything. Intelligence doesn't mean anything. What family background you come from doesn't mean anything. How much money you have in your bank account doesn't mean anything. Effort is everything. So the same principle of effort applies to communication skills, it applies to your confidence level, it applies to your career success, it applies to how successful you'll be able to get through your MBA period, it applies to your summer internship and all other aspects of your life. And I feel that every student should see this video to take inspiration that if they are not, having belief and confidence in themselves, all you need to do is put in more effort. Figure out a way to do that and you will be fine. So on that note, Neha, would you like to move on to the next session, please? Have you uploaded the slides? We are not able to see anything till now.
I couldn't hear anything. Should I
Okay.
display the
Yeah, can you
slides?
please move on to the next session?
Yeah.
So this is going to be the last session for today, and we have some activities for you even in this session. This is, of course, the much debated and pondered upon topic, the communication skills. So we'll, just talk about some important aspects of communication skills and why it is so important and why it is made such a big issue of by the entire industry, the entire corporate world, and why has it become even more important in today's time, especially in this virtual format that we are, working in. So maybe we could do the exercise first, Neha. Could you please pick up the students for the first exercise?
Yeah. So, am I on mute? No. Okay. So again, we are back with another exercise wherein I would need at least three courageous souls who want to come forward and participate. People who haven't participated in anything, I would encourage them to come.
And you can put your name in the chat box.
You can write your names in the chat box. Those of who haven't been a part of any activity, I'm sure there are many. So just come forward and give your names. Grab on the opportunity. Archit, Pankhuri, Megha. Okay, we have three people as of now. Okay. So we are going to do an extempore here. So basically what happens in an extempore is that you are given a topic on the spot and then you have to talk about that topic. So we are going to do a similar version of extempore with a little bit of liberty here, that I will give you all the topics. I will give three of you different topics in your separate chats, and then I will also give you 2 minutes to think through it and collect your thoughts, and then you can start to present. Sure? Pankhuri, ready? Pankhuri, I'm messaging you your topic. Megha, I have messaged you also. Archit. Okay. So I have given very general topics to these three candidates, and your time has already started. So I'm giving you all 2 to 3 minutes. You can jot down your points, and then you can start to present. So while presenting, also there will be a time limit that I want to give you, which is 1 minute. So try to wrap up your whatever you want to deliver in that 1 minute. And just to start with, you should tell your name, and then you should also tell the topic that is given to you, and then you can deliver the main content. So you have to stick to your time limit. So manage your time accordingly so that you are able to give out all the content. Pankhuri, Megha, Archit. All of you have received your topics?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So once you are ready, you can let me know. I would anyways start after 3 minutes. If someone else would also like to be a part of this activity, I have one more topic that I can give it to you. Feel free to give your name in the chat box if you want to be a part of this activity. Anshika. Anshika wants Anshika and Pankaj have given their names. Anshika, Pankaj, I'm giving you topics.
Ma'am, ready?
Yeah, okay, Pankuri.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
for the audience, just listen to what Pankuri is saying and you can then share your feedback also at the end. Okay.
Okay, so my name is Pankaj Agrawal and my topic is my favorite food. Actually, I am very foodie. I love to eat and cook too. Food gives us energy. Without food, we cannot live actually. So, and in India, there are many dishes. Some of the Indians like dosa, pav bhaji, etc. And some Western like pizza, burger. But my favorite is pizza, actually. Pizza is my favorite food because it tastes and it smells fabulous. Pizza itself looks so yummy, crispy, and so cheesy. And the food I cook, the main ingredient of my food is always cheese. So I love cheese. I am love to eat it, and I make it at home too whenever I want. Every pie is a different shape and size. There are thin crust pies, deep dish, and the toppings are my favorite, such as onions, tomatoes, and capsicum are my favorite toppings. On every occasion, I celebrate it with pizza style. There are many times I get scolded for having a pizza all the time because anything is excess causes harm to our health. But pizza lover will always be a pizza lover. There is something between me and pizza, the bond which cannot be broken. Ma'am, you are not audible.
Saying your time is over.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Pankuri. Can we have another candidate?
Ma'am, shall I start? Archit Sharma.
Yes. Archit, I can't see you. Can you switch on your video also?
Ma'am, device is running low battery, so it won't be possible right now.
Okay, no problem. You can start. Your time has started. Please start.
Okay, ma'am. My name is Archit Sharma, and the topic given to me is city. My favorite city is Prabhas Patan in Gujarat. I was been to there in December 2019 to visit the Somnath temple, one of the Jyotirling of among the 12 Jyotirlings in Somnath Mahadev temple. The city is located on the shore of Arabian Sea. The scenic beauty, the scenic beauty of the city is overwhelming. The hosting, the language of the people of the Prabhas Patan is very much pleasuring, very much pleasing, and many other pilgrim sites are also there to visit, which also is my hobby to visiting the pilgrim sites. So in future also I would like to visit that city again if I would have been given a chance again. And Somnath temple of Prabhas Patan has a great regeneration story, how it has been devastated and destroyed by some of the invaders from the some of the Western countries like some of the Arab countries and Iran, Iraq.
Arshit,
So,
your time is over. You can stop now.
okay, ma'am.
Who is next?
Ma'am, Megha.
Yeah, you can start, Megha. Yes, you are audible.
Okay, hi, my name is Megha Kumari, and the topic that I've given is that my favorite movie. Out of all the movies, my favorite one is a Korean movie, Parasite, which I truly like the concept of the movie and also how it showcased the different families. There are two families, a wealthy one and a destitute one. Low class family. So how this low class family get into this wealthy family, worm their way into this family is the main concept is of this movie. The theme of the movie is basically the class warfare, the war between the different classes of this movie. So uh, it basically the conceptualize the need of the greedy, which made them to make their own way into the family of a wealthy person. How they make pave their way into this. How they first plan out
Megha,
what.
your time is over now. You can stop, please. Your time is over.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Megha. Pankaj, you want to present Pankaj and Anshika?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, Anshika. Good to see
He-
you.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, you can start.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for giving me the privilege to share. So, myself, Anshika Sharma. So, the topic given to me is the turning point in my life. So, last year I lost my dadu. So, I'm somebody who is really very scared of losing somebody I love and somebody whose company I love. So I lost my dadu. The one thing that incident taught me was that no matter what happens, no matter who you lose or who you find, the life goes on. The people in the life will not wait for you. So I'm a very spiritual person, and when I lost my dadu, I stopped praying. Like I stopped talking to God and all that stuff. So and because of which I stopped. I like to sing, so I stopped singing also, and I become. I'm a very jolly person, so I just lost all the things, and because of which my grades were also impacting. So one thing which I've learned is, like, no matter what's happening, you need to get up, you need to pull up your socks, and you have to move on. So that is what I learned. Thank you.
Thank you, Anshika. You finished it off exactly in 1 minute. Thank you. Okay. The last one, Pankaj.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Yeah.
visible?
Yes, you are visible and audible both. Please start.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Hello, my name is Pankaj Sharma. My topic is the person who inspired me and why he inspired me. The person who inspired the most is Virat Kohli. Uh, he inspired. the thing which inspired me the most is his work ethics, his intent towards everything which he does, whether it is whether it is towards his fitness or towards his business or towards his cricket or his career, and his perception towards the life. Now he is very sorted person towards the life. This is the thing. That's why I'm highly inspired from him. मैं कुछ लाइनें यहाँ पे इंस्पिरेशन से रिलेटेड कहना चाहूँगा डॉक्टर राहत इंदौरी साहब की कुछ फेमस लाइनें हैं कि हम वो खुशबू हैं जो गुलों से उठते हैं, हम वो खुशबू हैं जो गुलों से उठते हैं, हम वो धुआं हैं जो पर्वतों से गुजरते हैं, ये कैचियाँ हमारा क्या बिगाड़ेंगी? कैचिया इज ऑल अबाउट डिस्ट्रैक्शन व्हिच वी फेसेस इन आवर लाइफ. ये कैचियाँ हमारा क्या बिगाड़ेंगी? हम परों से नहीं हौसलों से उड़ते हैं. So thank you so much. This is from my side.
Your time also got over. Thank you, Pankaj. In fact, thanks to all those who came forward and participated, and it was great hearing different kind of ideas on different topics. Now it's audience turn.
We have a very interesting video that we will show you right now. But before that, I just wanted to briefly discuss the talks that all the students did right now. So on an average, if I'm not wrong, each student spoke for 1 minute to 1 minute 20 seconds, right? What do you think from the audience? This is the question that I'm asking to the audience, the ones who were speaking also and the ones who were observing also. What do you think were the challenge you faced while speaking, and what was the obstacle you felt was there? And as an audience, what do you think were the areas that they were able to express very well, and things that they need to work on? You can send it on the chat box, your feedback, both the speakers and the audience. So I'll repeat the question. The people who spoke and for 1 minute, I would like you to tell me what did they do right, what went well for them, and what do you think did not go very well for them? Just give me general responses. There's no right or wrong to this. Just give me what your general overview is. You can put your responses in the chat box. Okay, Ishika said the point should not be repeated. Megha said keeping a check on time. This is a very important point which we will discuss right now. Anything else anybody wants to share? What went well, what did not go so well? Okay, Archit. Right. Pankaj is saying, I want to be more fluent in English. Kanika said to be on topic. So, I don't know if you were able to assess this, but talking for 1 minute is actually challenging. Himanshi just said, concluding at the end. Okay, so Anshika could not understand if she delivered well. Pankhudi said, I think I was stammering. So, as you can see, even talking for 1 minute on a simple topic like my favorite food, my favorite city, or anything as simple as that, even talking for 1 minute on these topics was not very easy. It was a challenge, it was something which took a lot of effort. And you guys must have noticed one thing, whatever points you wanted to share, you must have forgotten some of them while you were speaking. Some of them you remembered. So it was a mix that was happening, and which is why it is very, very important that always before speaking you must write down what you're about to speak. So that is why I had been telling you right from the beginning, that even for your introduction, that please have a written script with you possible, which will ensure that whatever you speak will be very clearly written and deeply there in your head. And that ways you will never ever forget your points. And this is one of the reasons we forget our points when we are speaking in front of people, because they do not practice by writing. They practice only here while they think. And this exercise was meant to show you that it is not easy to speak even for 1 minute. So, therefore, what can we conclude? If it is not easy to speak even for 1 minute, imagine the kind of practice all of us need to be able to have the confidence to start speaking in front of the audience and a larger public. And one is the time factor, which I wanted to tell you. The second is content. Your content cannot be too long, too short. It has to be crisp, it has to be concise, it has to be relevant, and most importantly, it has to be engaging. The favorite food topic, for example, the one where one of the students talked about pizza. Well, the sentences were very simple, and I think the language could have been made better. The whole answer could have been reframed, but she talked about very simple things. Oh, I love anything with cheese, and pizza for me is the ultimate food, ultimate comfort food, and things like that. And she was able to engage with the audience even with whatever she spoke. So the idea is to speak of content which is engaging, interesting, and which can keep the other person hooked to what you're speaking, right? So that was the intention of doing this exercise, to give you a very mild taste of what it is like to speak even for 1 minute on a very simple topic. So therefore, communication skills is of course a much more vast field, which we'll be working on. So Neha, would you like to show them the video and then we can move on to the slides?
Yes, we can do. Yeah. Oh.
In fact, the video that we will be showing you is a very interesting video. It is actually a funny cartoon video which talks about the importance of communication skills between some cartoon characters. And I think it will send out the message to you loud. I think. Neha, are you able to display it, the video?
I'm just trying to play it. Give me a minute.
Yeah, sure. In the meantime, if any of the students have any questions regarding communication skills, they can also post it on the chat box. And once the slides have started and we start explaining them to you, we can take those questions later at the end of the session. Neha, if the video thing is taking time, we can start off with the slides if there is a problem.
Mm, is it visible, Nikla?
Yeah, it is visible. Yeah. You can enlarge the whole screen. Thanks, Neha. You could do the stop sharing so that we could move on with the slides.
Yeah.
The right communication at the right time is crucial, right? Yeah. You could upload the slides now. Okay, so moving ahead, guys, I know this is the last session, but the most important session. I would like to first, understand why communication skill is such a big hawa in front of, everyone, and it is something that everyone struggles with. So we are going to understand a few facts and information about communication for you to understand the significance of this skill and why it is so important. In fact, it is considered to be even more important than academic skills at times. So let's look at some facts and information here, very crucial for you to understand. Neha, if you could move on to the next slide. Yeah. So communication skill acts as the single most important selection and rejection tool. Most of you would be aware of this, that most of the companies, at least 80% of the companies, look at communication skills as the most important factor when they're assessing students. Sometimes the grade of the students are not very good. Sometimes their experiences in summer internship projects are not very strong. But even in these cases, what acts in their favor is communication skills, including body language, eye contact, their pitch and tone of voice, and of course, their content and flow of speech. So, this is how important communication skills become for them. The second point, an employee spends about 75 to 80% of his day in oral or written communication. Imagine that even when you would be working in an environment where you will be, in your own job, 80% of your time will be going in either oral or written communication, whether it is in the form of writing emails, drafting reports, making proposals, having meetings, talking to clients, networking with people. Everything revolves around communication, and that's how important this skill is. Moving on to the next point, communication and interpersonal skills are of course at the top priority list of recruiters. And lastly, communication is just 7% words, 38% tone of voice, and 55% body language. Now, this is where, we kept on saying to you in the beginning, when introductions were going on, we would like to see your face, we would like to see how you're interacting, we would like you to keep your videos on, because this was the only way for us to assess your body language in this limited virtual platform. And body language is something which tells the recruiter or which tells the placement team much more about you, more than your words. So sometimes your words may be saying something else, but your body language is communicating just the opposite. And that's how a recruiter is able to make out where do you really stand and what are you really saying. Moving on to the next slide, please. So everyone talks about strengthening of communication skills. I will now share with you some very simple but very basic tips on how to strengthen your communication skills. So getting a 10 on 10 in your speech is going to be our major outcome and goal that we're going to be looking at. But first of all, we understand what are the essentials to strengthening your communication skills. The first and foremost is to know the fundamentals. You know, there are many students who come from various backgrounds or schools where the quality of education or the way or the language has not been English communication, and therefore their fundamentals or their basics are not very strong. So if the basics are not very strong, if you're not very strong in grammatical sentence formations and stuff like that, then of course that is a very big problem. And your first and foremost goal should be to strengthen the fundamentals and the basics of your English communication skills, right? And for that, you could sign in to a online course of English. There are various courses which are offered by British Council online, all free of cost. Some of them are paid, some of them are free. In fact, most of them are free. So if you really want to strengthen, first of all, your grammatical part of English, then I would suggest that, you know, work on your fundamentals. And if your fundamentals are slightly more better than, you know, not being very weak, but somewhere in between, and you want to further strengthen it, then we should look at some of the other tips which has been shared in these slides. Neha, if you could move on to the next slide. So these are my favorite tips. My second slide is my most favorite tip that I share with the students: mastering the 2 C's, you know, the courage and confidence, basically. Communication skills, like you even saw in the video, and even in our earlier communication to us, right from the morning till the time we have been talking to you now, we have been saying to you, come out of your comfort zone, push yourself, challenge yourself, take this as an opportunity, grab this and come forward and speak, right? So if I had to summarize these into 2 words, they would be courage and confidence. I'll share a small story of, you know, when I and my family and my son, who was just 5 years old at that time, we had gone for a holiday to Solang Valley, you know, which is very close to Manali. And my son was a, you know, adventure freak. He wanted to do these paragliding kind of activities, and he was really insistent that he wants to do it. And I, as a mother, was obviously very scared because he was just 5 years old. But then he said, no, I can do it. And we finally found a mentor who could do it with him. And he went all the way with the mentor till the top of a hill point. And heart, of course, was beating so hard because I was really scared for him. And all the way from the top of a hill point, he came gliding all the way down. And the moment he came down, my first question to him was, how was the experience for you? And he said, you know, initially when I did it, when I jumped from the cliff to fly and do the paragliding experience, I felt really scared. But the more I started doing it, the better I felt and my confidence just came. This is the same for communication skills. There is nothing different about it. If you take the first step, just the first step, the rest comes in naturally. You know, you just need to take the first step with that courage, and the confidence will get built in. But that first step has to be taken by you. Your faculty can only encourage you, they can only, you know, gently give you a push. But the final act of taking that step forward and initiating it has to be your action and your decision. And the next point that I'd like to share is something, again, very, very interesting, which a lot of you will look at it and say, oh, I can't do this, you know, because reading is a habit which I feel 80% majority of the students do not have these days, and they find it a big challenge, a big struggle to read books or read any article, read any blog. And that is one of the reasons why, you know, we see a lot of students who are not even updated with what's happening around them because they are not accustomed to the habit of reading. But I cannot emphasize enough on this habit, because this is one habit which not just strengthens your communication skills, but it also shapes you as a person. It changes your personality, it transforms your thought, it makes you relatable to various situations and people, and it gives you so much of confidence that, you know, is something which cannot just be had from other sources. So reading is an absolute must for all of you. And when I say reading, I'm not just talking about academic reading and technical reading, which you will anyways be doing during your MBA course, but read a variety of stuff. Read blogs, articles on politics, on economy, fiction, non-fiction, spirituality, anything that fancies you. And one tip that I would like to share with students, particularly who are not fond of reading, is this. Take up a topic. There must be something in your life that you're very passionate about. It could be cricket, it could be cooking, it could be car racing, it could be sports, it could be anything. Just pick up that one topic that you're really passionate about and start reading small content on those topics that you're really passionate about. Just that much of reading you can start building day by day. They say anything you do for a period of 21 days becomes your permanent habit. So this is what I feel that students who are not fond of reading can start doing. Very little by little they can read, even if it is just 2 or 3 lines on something which is very passionate for them, will help them in a huge way and take them really forward as far as the habit of reading is concerned. They say good readers make good leaders. So this is something that I would urge all of you. I know this sounds so cliched. Everybody has probably been telling you guys right from the beginning, read, 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 and we are back again saying the same gyan to you. But sorry to say and disclose, there is no shortcut to this. Neha, can you move on? Right. So after this session of reading and communication skills that we just had, before we move on and we talk about something else, if there are any questions from the students, please put it in the chat box so that I know that there are no doubts or anything that you would like to ask. Communication skills is again another very, very important session, just like tell me about yourself that we did some time ago. And like I said, this is going to be another part of your life, your career, your personal interactions all throughout. And again, this is going to be the first thing people will look at when they interact with you in every circumstance, not just professional but even personal. So any questions on communication skills? Okay, seems like everyone is crystal clear and all mastered, right? And like the video that you just saw, Aril Moody, remember that effort is everything. It doesn't matter which background, what kind of education or what kind of family you've come from. What matters is the effort that you will start putting into it. Every little effort will count. So that's all from me as far as communication skills are concerned, and we can just move on. Neha, we have a small video which we can show to the students on goal setting. Yeah, so we can show them that video and then we can end the session. This is a small video that we'd like to show all of you. This is a video that we cover as part of the goal setting session. And this is just a very, very motivational video that I think would be nice for you, all of you to see. While Neha is uploading the video, I'd just like to share with all of you, while we were discussing about Tell Me About Yourself, one of the elements of Tell Me About Yourself was talking about our goals, right? And where do we see ourselves 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 1 year from now? What is our objective in life? These are all related to goals. Now, the tricky thing here for you to understand is that do not talk about your goals and do not talk about where you see yourself 5 years from now voluntarily until and unless you are crystal clear about your goals. Okay, because it is a territory which is pretty dangerous. Once you get into that discussion with industry people or uh, placement teams, then they will push you in that area and they'll keep nudging you till they kind of start drilling and stressing you out. So you have to be very careful, you have to be very clear with your goals before you get into that area. That was one point I had missed sharing earlier, so I thought I'll share. Neha, the audio is not very clear. Neha, the audio isn't clear.
There is just some background music. You're not able to hear that?
No, it wasn't very clear. Are other students able to hear?
No,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
there is
No, ma'am,
always
not
background
clearly,
music.
ma'am.
Ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. There was only music.
Not clearly, ma'am.
I think
Neha, video is clear, but the audio is not clear.
Uh, there is just some background music. If we want, we can go ahead with this. And if it's not at all audible, then we can. I can later on mail it to you, and we can pass it on to the students.
yeah, I think that will be better because the audio is not coming very clearly right now.
Yeah, although there is nothing in the video in terms of we need to listen to it, we can just watch the video. But if there is no sound at all, then I'll just mail it to Professor Nayak and he can then circulate it with the students.
If the video is short, we can watch the video. If it is short for 4 5 minutes, we can definitely watch.
It is a 2 minute video, but
Yeah,
if it
yeah.
is not at all audible, then we can skip.
We can watch at least. Even if it is not audible, we can watch.
Sure, sure. I'm then playing it.
Thank you, Neha. So this is just a small glimpse. This is a beautiful, very, very inspiring, motivating video that we show as part of the goal setting session. And the idea of this video is that, no matter what the circumstances may be, do not give up on your goals. And there are many, many, many examples in the history of mankind when people have been able to overcome unsurmountable, I mean, things that we can't even imagine. And people have overcome and achieved unanimous success and great amount of wealth, prosperity for themselves. And a situation like this pandemic is really nothing. I mean, it is, of course, a very great situation for the humanity, but there are far more difficult things that we've been able to achieve, and goals have been achieved by humankind. So the idea in this video is never give up, question everything, get out of your comfort zone, and really start this process and journey of self transformation. I just wanted to take a minute to thank all of you students who have been very cooperative and patient with us through these technical glitches and all the problems that we faced today. But in spite of that, you guys were really patient. Thank you so much. And I also want to give a huge thanks to Dr. Nayak, Dr. Gopal Krishnan, Achal, and all the lovely students who were part of the program today. I really wish I could have seen you guys in person, and I can almost visualize myself standing in the podium in the same auditorium, looking at all of you, and communicating and having that cup of tea with the faculty and having the lovely discussion
Well,
with the
we'll,
students.
we'll, we'll have you, madam, soon. We'll have you, madam. So soon the students
Yes,
will be back to the campus, and after this pandemic, I think we'll have a meeting here at basically at the same auditorium with the same set of students. So we'll have
we
you
will
definitely.
absolutely do a follow-up session after this.
Right.
Open up. We will definitely do that.
So it was wonderful. I was also listening you since morning, though my video was off, but I was here only. I was doing my other works and I was also listening you and Neha. Of course, I have listened to all the students, those who are participating in various events, various activities. Okay, I could name also few of them, what they have done, what they said, how they have participated. It was wonderful having you, Meklaji, Nehaji. Thank you so much. And but I think this online is an online thing, but offline, once everything will be fine, we'll glad to have you at campus, both of you. We'll have a small session with all the students in later on, right? So over to Anselji, please.
Sir, I'll request Dr. Gopal Krishnan Dwivedi to propose vote of thanks officially.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Achal, ma'am. So, Well Begun is half done, and it is a popular proverb. Every year when the new batch of PGDM starts, we look forward to GHRDC sessions by Mekhala ma'am and by Neha ma'am, as these sessions not only give the students an opportunity to open up, but also boost up their morale and give them a roadmap to move ahead with confidence towards their brilliant career. So on behalf of IMS Ghaziabad, I extend my sincere gratitude to Ms. Mikla Sinha, Executive Director, and Ms. Neha Kapoor, Senior Manager, GHRDC, for conducting this mock drill and an exhaustive session on first steps, the PGDM tour, which was meticulously designed and effectively delivered. Sincere thanks to our Visionary Director, Professor Alok Pandey, and Dean Academics, Professor Tapan Kumar Nayak, for their incessant support and guidance. And as always, the most special thanks goes to the participants from PGDM 2020-22 batch who utilized this opportunity to the fullest and shared their hopes and fears frankly. Thank you so much, everyone, for being there. Thank you.
Before we leave, Meklaji, Nehaji, let me tell you one very honest thing from my side, that what I believe that few people carry energy with them. When they come to the campus, they inject the energy to the campus. So we'll wait for both of you to come to the campus and inject the energy which you all the years been injected to us. So thank you so much, and thank you all the participants. Thank you all the students.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Nayak. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So with your permission, Mekhla ji, can I end the session now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. All the best, students. All the best.
All the
Thank you,
best.
ma'am.
All the
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
all of
Thank
you.
you, Professor Nayak. Thank you.